I know it. And good morning, and it is now officially good afternoon to you, Gail, and good evening to, as the saying used to go, good evening to Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. it is Wednesday, 22nd of September of 2021. It's your John Lavenia Mastermind. Have I mentioned before how much I enjoy pumping this up? John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I'm your guy, Glen Henderson, and it's good to see you. Now, while we're here, I'm going to vamp for a moment, I think, and see if I can get myself over to the dashboard and see what we've got going for the coming week. Uh, oh, you know what I need to do? I realized that I need to change my. Oh, wait, no. I was about to say I need to change my password for the mastermind. I had a little issue with that last week, but nope, we're in good shape. And so, what's going on today? It's your general session going on right now with me, the hospitality suite, right after this, and then at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, it is Books for Britain with our good friend Mandy Anderson, who I understand is covering a book written by some fella called Lavenia. Integrity is everything, I think, is the book that we're working on these days. Hello, Emma. Nice to see you. And Daisy's here, and of course Suzanne prepping dinner out there in the Pink Forest, and Gail. Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever in the U.S. of world you are. Nice to see you. Two things. One thing particularly has been on my mind this week. Well, before I do that, Suzanne asked me something as we were just starting up here. She said, "How's your CrossFit training going?" And I said, "Well, would it's killing me be a fair description of what's going on?" The thing is, I've noticed it's killing me just slightly less than it was killing me last week. So I suppose that could be considered progress. And then she asked me a really, really interesting question. She said, "Well, are you enjoying it?" And I think I said words to the effect of, "Well, in this case, I would say enjoy is probably a relative term. Um, I am enjoying the fact that I'm getting my body back in motion, which I should have done long time ago. But that is, as I heard a line in a movie once, that is spilt milk under the bridge. So we're back in motion, back into movement, get the blood flowing a couple, 3 mornings a week. And I'm also riding my bicycle again, which I had put off and left aside for far too long. So this past Sunday, I went out for a nice little ride, which was fun. And I'm trying to think of how far it was. Oh yeah, here we go. Went out Sunday morning, and let's see, how far did we go? I'm doing the conversion for our friends on the opposite side of the pond. Um, I rode for, oh, okay, that's all right. About 38 kilometers on Sunday morning, which 23 miles here in the imperial states of the U.S. of America. And it was refreshing in a way. It was kind of tough because I stretched it out a while, the ride, but did all right. And so the gratifying thing, to answer your question, Suzanne, am I enjoying it? I'm gratified to be back in action. And the U.S. Marines have a saying. The saying goes, "Pain is your friend." What? Yeah. Pain is your friend because it lets you know that you're still alive. So that's kind of where I am with me and CrossFit right now. I'm still alive. And not to get too macabre or morbid about that particular, it actually reminds me of, it kind of brings us into the topic that I wanted to chat with us about this morning. And some of you may have seen or noticed post that I put up in some of my social media spots this week. I got a text message on Sunday morning letting me know that a good friend of mine had been killed in a car accident on Saturday night. Apparently the circumstances were that she and another friend were in a car with a gentleman who, as it turned out later, was driving very drunk. They were he as will happen, did something stupid behind the wheel, and they were hit by a wrecker, a tow truck. My friend I understand, was killed instantly, and the other passenger was killed, and the driver survived. He's in the hospital in critical condition and facing charges of double vehicular homicide. So we shall see what comes of that and the progress. I've spoken with a number of friends, mutual friends of the young lady who was killed, and arrangements are being made. Funeral and memorial arrangements are being made. I understand it's possible that there may be a GoFundMe page or a crowdfunding page arranged. If that's the case, I will let you know. If you're interested, reach out to me and I'll let you know. She was my friend. I shall keep her name confidential. She was 29 years old. And she was one of those people. I met her 7 years ago when we first moved to Houston. She was working at a restaurant that was a favorite of mine. And we became friends right off. But then I came to realize later that was natural, that was nothing out of the ordinary, because this was the kind of young lady who, from the moment you met her, within an hour, you felt as if you were her best friend. She had that kind of personality. She was sunny and bubbly and enthusiastic and full of joie de vivre. She was energetic and just a really a magnetically positive and happy person. And it wasn't fake. You know how some people walk around with a grin on their face, but they're really like ready to stab you in the back? I got to know her over the years, and her infectious enthusiasm for life was real. Not that she had an easy life, by no means. But she chose to view her life as a gift. She chose to view her life from the perspective of someone who had a number of experiences, good and bad, and who had chosen to take the upbeat view of her circumstances, of her surroundings, and of her own experiences, and she made it her almost her life's work to pass her own joy on to as many people as she possibly could. And she was 29 years old, and she's no longer with us. So, I tend, I think, to be fairly even-keeled emotionally in terms of how things affect me. Now, obviously, there's another side to that, because I have one of these weird personalities. I've been known to cloud up at a really meaningful TV commercial. So I fully experience all of my own emotions. I think most of the time I tend to keep the negative emotions to myself, if that makes sense. Because as an old friend of mine used to say, man, don't nobody want to hear about your problems. And so I have always lived, I think, in a way and with a mindset similar to that of my lost friend. That is, it's always been my goal that anyone who meets me should go away feeling better about themselves and about their life and about the world for having spent time with me. Does it always succeed? I suppose that's for others to judge. But I've always made it my business to lift people up, to encourage, to try to do the best I could to brighten someone else's day. And my friend was exactly the same way. Having said all that, with the positive and keeping the negative to myself, her passing hit me pretty hard, I must say. I hadn't seen her in a couple of months, but you know how someone makes an imprint on you? Someone makes an impression that doesn't go away easily, and the impression that she made on me, I think, will never go away. And many of her friends feel the same way. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with another acquaintance of hers who said, I wish, and here's the key to everything we're going to chat about now. The friend said, I wish I had made the time. She was very careful in the words she chose. I wish I had made the time to get to know her even better and to further deepen our friendship. It reminded me of something that was said to me at my father's funeral 20 years ago. A couple of coworkers at the company where I was working at the time asked if they could come along to the funerals. Sure, be an honor. Thank you. So they came, and it was very well attended, and people were sharing their stories about my dad and how much he had meant to them, the difference he'd made in their life from a personal level, from a spiritual level. My dad was a great spiritual leader. And one of the guys from my job came up to me. The two guys, they came up to me after the service, and they said, Glenn, we never met your father. But given what everybody's been saying and what we've seen and heard tonight, we wish we had met him, gotten to know him. And so that's what my other friend was saying about the young lady that was killed. And it got me to thinking, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? What are you waiting for? We've said this so many times, and we've heard this said in so many ways. And yet still, somehow, it seems to go in one ear and out the other far too often, right up until we lose someone we care about. And even then, sometimes, we say, oh, yes, well, that's very profound. Yeah, that's really important. Don't waste time. The first thing I said, some of you saw my post online, on social. I said, I've just received word that a friend of mine passed away too young. And I said, please don't waste time. Please don't waste time. I don't recall the rest of what I said in that post. Here's what I think I meant. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what age you are. Don't care what age your kids are, your grandkids. thinking about them too. Here's the point. None of us, whether we're 20 or 80 or anywhere in between, none of us has any time to waste. And so, because we never know, this all sounds trite and cliched and corny, doesn't it? My friend's family could tell us it ain't trite, it ain't a cliche, it ain't just some corny saying. 29 years old, none of us knows how many days are ahead. I'll put it that way. So what's that mean? Yeah, Glenn, sure. Anytime, you never know. Step off the curb and, hey, today could be your life. Yeah, so what? So here's the point. My point today, anyway. You got something to say to somebody? Say it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Most important, if there's somebody in your life that you care about, tell them today. Call them up, send a text, send an email. Go down to your greeting cards place, buy a card, write it out. Hey, just want to let you know I was thinking about you. Love you. Let's get together sometime. Put it in the mail. People need to hear what it is you've been hesitating to say. Again, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between, whether it's positive news, negative, doesn't matter. If you've got something to say to someone, say it. How do you know how many days are ahead for them? You got something you've been meaning to do? Hey, you know what? I'm going to do a little experiment. Everybody take out a piece of paper right now. Grab a pen, paper. Write down, and I'm grabbing a pen and paper because I'm going to do it too. Write down 5 things you've been meaning to do. Doesn't matter. Don't have to be big time, fancy, expensive bucket list stuff. 5 things you've been meaning to do. Go ahead. I'll wait. How many you got down so far? 2, 3? A couple? Don't worry. We've got time. We've got time. Go ahead. Go for it. And you got 5 things? I've got 5 things. What are you waiting for? I'm sure that my friend had lots of things that she was planning to do. What are you waiting for? I just finished a book by a good friend of mine, and I'm going to share my screen just so that you get to see the name of the book. You can tell that there wasn't a whole bunch of like fancy planning and stuff that went into this. This is kind of the thoughts that I've been having the last couple of days. Here we go. There's the book. It's called 4 O'Clock Fridays by my friend Alan Rabb. Paula and I met Alan and his wife Jill on a cruise a couple of years ago. We've kept in touch, and so I just read his book. One man's journey to become his best self. Alan, interestingly enough, had a very successful career, 30 years in business, as a lot of it as an executive, a financial executive with Coca-Cola. And what he began to realize, the book is almost like an autobiography. I won't give it away. What Alan, over the course of his earlier life, began to realize, everybody got it? 4 O'Clock Fridays by Alan D. Rabb. What Alan began to realize was that his life was horribly out of balance, inexcusably out of balance, that he was not making the time for the things in his life and the people in his life that were truly the most important to him. And the rest of the book talks about his journey toward a full and fulfilling life. So I commend Alan's book to you. The point is this. Alan had been leaving out people and personal priorities in his life and had sacrificed almost everything on the altar of the job. Headlong pursuit of a full wallet, which threatened to leave him with an empty house. So, what's all this mean? Talking between my friend's tragic loss, the loss of my friend, and this gentleman who figured out that his life was ultimately empty and meaningless unless and until he chose to make the time and pursue the priorities most important to him. Your list that you just made out, your list that you just wrote out of 5 things you've been meaning to do, I'm going to offer a challenge to you. Get one of those things done today. If you've written things down that can be done in a couple of hours or in a few minutes or whatever it is in a short time, what exactly are you waiting for? If they're larger, if it's a line on the page emblematic of a larger project, get started today. And I don't mean go sit at your desk and shuffle some papers and delude ourselves that we've gotten started. Get something done. Take a productive action today toward the completion of that project. What are you waiting for? I'm going to keep saying it. As a matter of fact, you see my nice new office here. One of the things that I'm going to post, I'm still putting up pictures on the walls. I'll show you at some point. One of the things that I'm going to post on the wall in a very prominent place where I can see it all day is those 5 words. What are you waiting for? I'll guarantee you, if I can get just a little morbid or graphic for a moment, I'll guarantee you that my friend may have wished for one more day to do something, whatever it might have been. So, I'm looking at my list, and there's a couple things I can do today. What's on your list that you can get done today? Who do you need to talk to? Who do you need to reach out to? Remember what we said before. If you've got something to say to someone, say it. It's a couple of things I wish I'd had time to say to my friend. So, it's a heavy topic, But at the same time, there's some encouragement. There's some hope because, why? We have today. We have today. So get something done today. Have a conversation today. Get that thing started today. Go spend some time with someone you care about today. In person, whether it's a Zoom call or whatever it is. I would hate to consider the idea of losing someone else and realizing, damn it, if only I'd had a little more time and I could have told them this. One of the great joys of my life, one of the things of my life for which I'm eternally grateful is the fact that because of the circumstances of my life at that time, at the time on the day my father passed away, there was nothing left unsaid between us. And I would wish and pray for that for every one of us. So, three things. Write down your list. Have a conversation with someone. What are you waiting for? It's all I've got to share this morning, my friends. Heavy topic. You know what? Sometimes topics need to be heavy. Because I need to be reminded how precious these few days on this beautiful blue ball really are. So there you go. What do you think? What's on your mind? Emma, we shall see you next time. Thanks for swinging by. Virginia, what's on your mind?
Hi, Glenn. Good morning. I am so sorry. This is such a sad event for you. And I did post a private message to you, which I think you saw. But anyway, I guess what you have to look at is if I died today unexpectedly, as that was, what would be the regret? And although there's a bunch of stuff that has been on my list to do, that's all super, it's administrative, it's work related, nobody's ever going to be on their deathbed and said, I wish I worked harder or worked longer, So have to look at what is it that, okay, the things on my bucket list, I didn't get to walk the Great Wall of China. Oh, well, I can die without having done that. That won't be a huge loss, but I'll go walk the streets of gold instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, just looking at it as who do you have to tell you love or you didn't. One thing I regret, my mother was one of 7 children, grew up in the Depression era, and I'm named after my grandmother. And she used to tell me a lot of stories, but there's more stories I don't know. There's more questions I don't have answered about our ancestry, our background, and the same with my dad's side. And they're all gone. I can't ask that question anymore. Oh, I thought I knew all their stories, but I really don't. So, I would say if you're looking at any ancestry type information, get it from your older loved ones or your cousins or whoever, because they may be the only person that knows that little tidbit about your family or about something. So that is something I regret, that I can't ask my mom anymore, like, well, what happened to so and so or whatever. So that's all I have to contribute is look at it from the back end, like if I were to pass away today. What was that movie? Was it Billy Jack or something years ago, where the Indian old head chief used to say, today is a good day to die?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Billy Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my Paula, my wife, is actually going through that process right now. Thank you, Virginia, for reminding me. She's going through that process right now of tracing and documenting her family's ancestry. Her mother is still with us, and so she's able to ask some of those questions. And in the process of that, Paula's discovered she has a nephew that she's never met. Will she get to meet this nephew? We don't know. Not sure. But there are those kinds of stories that come from the mouths and from the stories and the life experiences of those ancestors, those closest family members who came before us, who set the stage before us. Oh, and by the way, to answer your question, Virginia, no, it was not someone you would have met at the house. She was not there. She was not at that party. So again, I'll let you know if there's any about arrangements. I know there's been a crowdfunding sort of thing has been discussed to help defray some of those expenses. I'll let you know. You know, if you're interested, reach out to me and I shall let you know. Well, I see. We've got Ace. Good to see you, my friend. Allie's here, and Ingrid. Hello, my friend. Mandy, nice to see you. The Money Mama is always a positive presence with us, and at front and center, at least on my screen, the man who started all of this, the Godzilla himself. It's good to see you, John. And I have to say that I consider this mastermind to be a major part of my own extended family. I appreciate all of you and the contributions of all sizes and types that all of us have made. Thank you, Ace, Crazy Horse, the warrior who said it is a good day to die. The contributions that all of us have made here, some simply by our very presence, and which encourages others to step forward. I know there are some cases of some people who have been shy to speak for a long time, and yet who over the course of time have stepped forward, come out of their shell a little bit, as the saying may go, and shared some of their own thoughts with us, and we've discovered how profound and meaningful those thoughts are, those ideas are. I'm looking at you, Money Mama, and so many others of us. Billy Graham, the great American evangelist Billy Graham, once said, "Courage is contagious. When one brave man takes a stand, it stiffens the spines of others." So for some of us have encouraged and built each other and lifted each other up without even realizing it by doing something so simple and so profound as overcoming a fear of our own. So, by the way, when I say, what are you waiting for? In taking that step, in having that conversation, in getting that project started, in doing that thing that you've been meaning to do, you will, I guarantee you, encourage someone else to quit waiting around. You will encourage someone, you will inspire someone else to stand up and take action, to get moving, to go over and sign up at the CrossFit gym. Oh my gosh, it's killing. But anyway, to go and do that thing that they've been meaning to do, to make that phone call that they've been meaning to make. And boy, I tell you, I'm starting to do this even more now, reaching out to people, having conversations, and you'd be shocked how many times people come back and say, "Oh my goodness, Glenn, I was just thinking about you. How are you doing? I'm so glad to hear from you." I had this happen recently with a woman that I went to university with. Well, I'll finish that story in just a moment after we hear from our good friend Gail. How are you, ma'am? What's happening?
Hi, Glen. I'm doing okay, but everything that you've said today triggers for me because, and it's so true what you're saying. You know, life is very short. We never know when we're going to go. And when my husband died unexpectedly 18 years ago, he was in another country. It took a while for him, 2 weeks to get him back. But the good thing was that I had spoken to him on the phone, and the very last thing I said to him was, I love you. And my son at the time, he and Victor were not having, they had troubles with each other, understanding each other. And maybe about a month before that, my son realized that, yeah, part of the problem is his. And he went and spoke with my husband, and they sorted things out, and they had a good relationship, you know, in that short time. And he's often said how thankful he is that he was able to reconcile with his father. And
Mm.
my husband's death has made all of my family realize how important it is to let each other know that we love each other. We hug each other, we kiss each other goodbye and hello, and we just, you just never know. And so it's very, very important that you do those sort of things. So thank you.
It's a it's a simple lesson, isn't it? Thank you, Gail.
Mhm.
It's a simple lesson, isn't it? And yet, so often in the hustle and bustle of schedules and circumstances and the day to day running around, we forget.
Mhm.
We forget to let those special people in our lives know exactly how we feel. I can guarantee you that won't be happening anymore with me.
Yeah.
Uh, so there it is. There it is. As another friend of mine who was talking about our mutual friend that passed away said, "Man, Glenn, this is another one of those corny phrases." She said, "This is really a wake-up call." Well, thank God we were around to get the call. Yeah, so it's a wake up call. Everybody says, oh, wow, man, that's a wake up. That's really a wake up call, isn't it? Okay. So what are you going to do? What are you waiting for? Hey, here's an idea. Everybody's got a list of things to do every day, right? You got a task, to do list, agenda, calendar. How about this? How about this for an idea? Go to your calendar. I'm going to do this today. Go to your calendar, block out 15 minutes. Shouldn't take more than that. Block out 15 minutes every day and call it, I don't know, personal reach outs. Call it your I love you moment. Whatever you want to call it. Call it connection, relationship built, whatever you want to call it. I like personal reach outs. 15 minutes a day to write a text, a couple of text messages, a couple of emails, make a quick phone call, whatever method you choose. Reach out to one or two people that you care about and let them know you're thinking about them. Nothing fancy. No sales pitch allowed. No prospecting for your opportunity. Just reach out and say, hey, how you doing? I had one today. Buddy of mine, just before we jumped on this call, buddy of mine from online, he says, hey man, it's been a minute. Just wanted to reach out and say hello. How you doing? Well, you might just make somebody's day. You might just cheer somebody up a little bit. You might just, by that call, bring somebody back from the ledge. So what are you waiting for? 15 minutes a day. There's an idea. What do you think? Good idea? And block it out in the calendar. Not like, oh yeah, I should have, I really ought to reach out and call someone. No. Your calendar, your to-do list every day, it's right there. 15 minutes, write the name down, and when that 15 minutes comes, then you pick up the phone, you call. It's a regular part of your day. Why not? I'm doing it. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Next Wednesday, when we get together again, I would love to hear from you a story or two about someone, a conversation that you've had with someone during this coming week. And then next Wednesday, come back and let us know how it went. Let us know how the conversation went. How about that? Agreed? Excellent. My friends, my dear friends, I see you all. I appreciate you. I'm looking at the screen now. You can see that my eyes are not, but I'm looking at each of you, and I want you to know how much I appreciate who you are and who you are in my life and in our lives together here, our experiences together. And John, thank you so much for starting this for us, my friend. This wouldn't have happened. These friendships, these connections that we've developed might never have happened if you hadn't had the idea to bring us together. I appreciate you. I love you, brother. Listen, you guys, have a great afternoon, evening, night. Enjoy your dinner, Suzanne. And we shall see you in the hospitality suite and over at Books for Britain at 3 p.m. Eastern with this fella John Lavenia's book, Integrity is Everything. And we shall see you all again very, very soon. Make it a great day. You absolutely deserve it, and someone who you know needs it. Have a great one, my friends. Bye for now.